Hi everybody, I'm Mahin, and this is a special edition of the Daily Bellydance Quickies. Today I have a couple special guests here I'm going to tell you about in just a second. And so right now I am in the San Jose area, so I have come up the coast with the California tour, and I'm headed further north up to Arcata on Sunday. Tomorrow we have the workshops here in San Jose at the time of this taping. And so right now, though, I thought it would be a good idea to catch up with one of our belly dance projects for this year that we're following, and that is Sara Shrapnell's book, Becoming a Belly Dancer. Sara is also the author of Teaching Belly Dance, which is a book aimed at helping teachers organize classes and to deal with teaching. And also we have Devine here, who is also working on this project from the costume angle and the layout of the book. And a lot of you know Dawn's work with Cloth of Egypt for Suet, and many other costuming books, and all of her great posts online on Facebook that keep us entertained. And so yeah, so we're going to catch up with Sara and Dawn about this project right here. So Sara, when I saw that this project was coming up, and I saw the title of it, and I was very curious about exactly where this is aimed towards, whether this is aimed towards like a very new dancer or going pro, or kind of what the person that this book is written for. Who is that?
So yeah, when we were talking through different processes and coming up with different names for the book, one of the names that we were kind of toying with for a long time was From Student to Stage, and I think that's a really clear idea of who we were aiming for. We were aiming for the dancer who is happy in class, learning lots, maybe getting to the point where they're performing end of semester, end of year, in their class groups, maybe occasionally in troops, who really wants to move on to being a stage dancer, having more opportunities, perhaps moving into restaurants, maybe even into competition. But I think that's quite a big jump from being a serious student to a professional belly dancer. So we're kind of trying to give people our experiences of making that transition, the experience we've had as teachers guiding other people to do that, and help people maybe widen what they're considering, because I think sometimes people think, well, I'll get a costume, I'll learn a dance, I'm there. Trying to sort of widen the process for them, make them consider it a little bit longer.
Yeah, because there's so many things. There's so many things in that transition that just can't get taught in class.
Yeah, and teachers don't have the time. If you have one or two students in class who are really enthusiastic about making that move, but you have 12 other people who just want to be in the troupe or just want to get fit, you don't have time as a class teacher to go through absolutely everything that they need to learn. Right,
and not everyone has the access to or the resources to do private lessons for that sort of thing.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Or someone who wants to be their mentor. And there are a lot of pitfalls as well, and we're trying to save people from some of the common mistakes.
Yeah, there's plenty.
And the problem with some of the mistakes is they can follow you for a long time. So you make one mistake and it takes a long time to get over. Yeah, and to be mentally prepared as well as physically. Costume is a huge... Deciding your look and being able to build a strong image and project that forward to other people.
So, can you kind of give us an overview of kind of some of the topics that you're going to cover with this?
Yeah, so we're starting off with the physical preparation and the mental preparation, covering things like stage fright. And coping with other people's reactions, so assessing your videos, your pictures, and coming out from the other side of that. Sometimes when you've appeared on stage, you can want to, hide away for a little while. Dawn's done a lovely big section on costuming, not just, here is the costume that you should have, but suggestions on building a wardrobe, making good purchases rather than bad purchases, bringing everything together, having a cohesive style has been very important.
I think that one of the things that people don't really take into consideration at the beginning is you really only have one opportunity to make a good first impression. Yes. And your debut might be in a tiny coffee shop, but if you have 3 community influencers there, it can have an impact on later performances and the way they're viewed. So, you know, we're going to be discussing how to, you know, strategically pin things together to prevent wardrobe malfunctions, and, you know, how to costume appropriately for your body type so you don't actually have a performance that's maybe a little too cheeky or a little too, you know, too much exposure or not enough exposure. You know, there's everything. And, you know, one of the, you know, the things that, you know, as teachers we frequently see is not enough lipstick, not enough eyes, the sort of, you know, $1 million costume with $20 makeup kind of, you know, where you're not a complete unified whole.
Yeah, I look back at my early student pictures and Hoplas and things like that, and I was like, wow, did I have any makeup on? Yeah, I remember. And that's a common thing because it feels so unnatural to wear that much makeup, and you're sitting there putting it on until you get used to that, and then that's something that someone needs to be there telling the students, it's okay, you really are supposed to look like that. Once you put your costume on, it's all going to come together. So yeah, that's something that's one of those things that you don't really realize when you're a new student. So yeah.
And the other thing is that I think that a lot of people, when they come to class, they may not initially get to class thinking I'm going to perform.
Oh yeah.
And so when they make that decision, they, you know, people have to start somewhere. And so, you know, simple things like, how do I select a good bag? What should I put in it? You know, I need shoes. I didn't think of that. I need a cover up. Why? And so a lot of those questions, again, you don't necessarily get in a class, and you don't really get exposed to until you're at an event. And in some communities, you have opportunities to go to events every weekend. We're very lucky here in the Bay Area. There's a dance event, you know, 2 or 3 times a weekend. But you know, there are places in, you know, across the country and around the globe where mentors and instructors aren't necessarily available on a regular basis. So you may go to a workshop and that's your first performance.
Oh yeah.
And so this book really is, in my opinion, and I hope we're on the same page, is that it will bring together all that practical advice in one convenient space. So you can search the web for hours and hours and get this same information, maybe, if you spend enough time and know what questions to ask and which search terms and what websites. So what we've done is we're doing the hard work and putting it all in one place.
But if you even knew what to search, you probably would already know.
That's
the thing, is you don't even know what
true.
to search because you don't even think about things like body tape and you know, all of the little things that make sure that all the costuming stuff stays exactly where you put it. The things you learn the hard way.
What do I do with those false eyelashes at the end of the performance?
Oh yeah.
They don't go back in the package the same way they came out, do they?
No, yeah, and there's a lot of things in there. So.
I think, I mean, I've been very lucky in the people that I've met becoming a belly dancer, that people have shared a lot of information with me. And speaking to some people, it seems like not everyone's that lucky to have someone that you can ask questions to who'll give you an honest answer. And so I think we really want to be those people. I've learned so much from knowing Dawn. You know, I'll just, when I'm, you know, trying on a costume or something, and she'll say, oh, but why did you do this? Just do this, this, this. You're like, why didn't I think of that? Because that's not, you know, it's not easy for me. It's not an easy part of the belly dance world is costuming. And I think we forget, you know, when you know things, you forget that not everybody knows these things.
Yes, and I think that when you have a teacher who has a lot of experience and a lot of years, I think they take so many things for granted that they might even forget to mention certain things.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just like, well, of course you need a cover up, you know, and it's like, you didn't bring one? So, but yeah, little things like that that really aren't little, because that perceives how, like you were saying, how you are perceived in your community because you walked around in your costume and not you didn't cover your costume until it was time to perform, so that affects how people kind of perceive you as a dancer.
And how
coming out.
comfortable you were with your performance, because you might have had an amazing performance, but you come home and think, I made so many mistakes. I was too early, I was too late, I bought the wrong things, I didn't put my things in the right place, I didn't have the right kind of music, I didn't have the piece of wire to get my iPod connected.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Technology's a whole nother thing.
so many things that can upset a dancer on her day of performance, apart from just the performance.
Right, because I mean, stressing about all of those things it just piles up, and then that you take all that on stage with you to some degree, and that affects your performance. So yeah, having all of those little ducks all in a row ahead of time gives you less things to worry about, so you can be more relaxed.
So this book will have quite a few checklists and I mean, and you've addressed this on your blog, music that every dancer should know. It's very inspiring for the two of us in our book, because we were actually putting in some classic music, and we got into a big discussion about how there are regional tastes in music. Sara, in her list, came up with songs I'd never even heard of. I was like, what is this? And I had things that she's kind of like, really? And so, in the process of working on this book, we've realized how looks and costuming and makeup and music and even movement vocabulary taste is so regional. And we're trying to approach this with a broader perspective. So it isn't geared for a cabaret dancer, a glamorous dancer, historic dancer, tribal or fusion. We're really looking at somebody who's at a certain stage in their dance, not necessarily their style. So we've invited a whole host of ladies to join us. It's going to be filled with pictures with women of different ages, sizes, and experience levels. It's just, the photography is beautiful.
Oh wow, yeah. I'm looking forward to this one. It sounds like a really good resource for like you said, the up and coming dancer, because I mean all of these other things, this is not about technique, and this is not about style, and it's not about the dancing. It's about everything that have to do to get the dancing on stage. So that's a whole very different topic. So that's good.
And we've got some kind of weekend projects, some things that people can spend a little time on, outside practice time, to improve or to help with their costume wardrobe. I think that's a fun section.
Yeah, we had a group of dancers join us for a cut and wear session where we took t-shirts and we cut them into cholis, just with a pair of ordinary scissors. And they came in and we had a bunch of t-shirts and scissors, and at the end we had a photo shoot with their new outfits. They just snipped into Bellydance shape. So it was quite fun. And sometimes when you're dancing, especially if you're in a troupe or you're really a beginner and it's your first baby step, and you might be in somebody's living room, even not even on a stage, you don't want to invest a lot of money before you really have a moment in the spotlight.
Right.
So, starting off with simple no-sew or low-sew, very affordable things that people can do at the very beginning to still look like a belly dancer and have that flair and that flavor without going into big bucks for a costume.
We've had a couple of conversations about costume where Dawn's kind of said, oh, but everybody knows how to make one of those, and I've gone,
no.
I don't know how to make one of those. It's like, I'll show you. It's like, well, if you're going to show me, we should put it in the book.
Yeah.
Because to you that kind of thing is, well, I've got 10 minutes, so I'll make you one of those.
Yeah, not all of us are friends with our sewing machine to the degree that Dawn is, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I am one of them.
I'm having a very close relationship with all of my equipment.
So where on the timeline, where are you guys in production for this? Because like I said, this is part of the Belly Dancer project for this year.
Yeah.
So where are you in production about right at this point?
So I describe it differently to Dawn. We're having a great fun actually working together.
Yes. Yeah.
I describe in word count, and we were at 54,000 words.
Oh.
Yes.
Which you don't even care about.
I think in terms of spreads and photos, because I work more on the layout side.
Right.
And so to me, I'm looking at this at like, okay, well, we're somewhere between 300 and 400 pages.
Wow, this is going to be a big book.
It's gonna
And
be a
yes,
book.
it's going to be a big book. It's going to be, I mean, you know, statistics, you may be interested or not, but it's going to be 8 by 10,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be between 300 and 400 pages thick. And our
Soft cover.
soft cover, black and white, to keep the
Mhm.
cost down. We want
Right.
to make a product that we can jam pack with information, but still have a nice price point.
Mhm.
We don't want to scare off people with,
And Alicia takes beautiful pictures, whether they're black or white or colour.
yes.
So,
Any
Yeah.
plans for this to be like Kindle friendly or ebook?
So we're looking forward to that. The problem with Kindle books right now is that you, a Kindle reader, can change the point size,
Mhm.
and so the text falls out of relationship to the pictures.
Oh.
So
yeah.
Kindle isn't necessarily a great media for an instructional book where the text
Right.
and the images have to relate.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
so,
interesting. Yeah.
The technology may catch up,
Mhm.
but right now Kindle's good for all textbooks
text, yeah.
or books where the imagery isn't connected to a specific paragraph.
Okay.
So,
Hmm.
but you know, we may be able to release it. The technology is always changing. We may get to the
Mhm.
end of this project and go, well, if we just tweak this and switch that, we can get it
Right.
together into
Yeah.
a Kindle format. The nice thing about a Kindle format is that a 400-page book is a hefty thing. So,
Yeah.
so we may be able to save a tree
Mhm.
and reduce the stress on the biceps
Yes.
from reading a
Holding it up.
really big book.
I tell you, traveling, I absolutely love my Kindle because when traveling, I can take 20 books with me and no stress.
Well, we are planning for that. We
Yeah.
are hoping for that, and we will continue to work for that. Let's see.
It's an aim for the future rather
Yeah.
than a current.
Great.
We're hoping.
Yeah.
So are there going to be any kind of, do you have any like events attached to this book, you know, as far as either afterwards or in its launch or anything like that we should look for?
Well, I
Haven't thought that far.
I'm thinking about
Haven't thought
events.
that far yet, right?
Well, I'm sure we'll have a party.
Yeah, we're gonna have a party. We're definitely gonna have a party. And we'll probably have an online book launch with
Uh-huh.
some activities and things. But as far as a book tour or something like that, I just booked us in for the fall festival
Oh, thank
in
you.
November. So I don't know if this book will be at that state, you know, like in its final form, but we'll definitely have a laid out printed copy at that show. That's the first Saturday of November. Thought you might want to know.
Excellent. I'll
Okay.
write it down.
And
Nice of her to tell you
I-
now,
I
huh?
heard we just got here. But I think that moving into the spring, we're probably going to try and make an appearance at Ricasa, the big local event, and then going forward, we'll think about some of the other dates and
So
things.
what's the target date for a published launch for this at this
Well,
point?
If we're lucky,
Mm-hmm.
Touch wood.
then
yeah.
we will be done in enough time to have it out the first week of December. That's
Oh,
we're shooting
for Christmas. Get
just
you.
in time for Christmas. We've been working on this, as you've heard from the word count.
Oh yeah.
So we have basically, behind the scenes here.
Mhm.
We've got a photo shoot each month for the next 4 months, and we're going to be starting the layout process in October. So we'll be, we're in the middle of editing and refining the text. I mean, I just had to divide the costuming chapter into 2 smaller chapters because I wasn't paying attention to word count.
And it was a little large.
It was a little large, so I had to divide it, and that means 2 instructions, and sort of, how do I do this and make it flow. So we're still working out some of the fine points in the flow of the book, and we hope to have the text edited by September, layout in full swing by October, and then editing the laid out product in November for a December release.
Yeah, I think, in talking to all of these people about their projects, I mean, for some people, these, the projects they've taken on for this year have been things that are out of their usual area of expertise. So like when I was talking to Roxanne Shelaby, she had never made a movie before. So she was learning all of these things about movie making. She had help from editors and things like that. And luckily you have a lot of experience with the publishing portion of this. So have you come across any new things in the production of this book that have kind of like taken you by surprise, that you had to like, oh, new skill I have to learn, new hat?
Well, collaborating.
That's been fun.
So,
Well, it sounds like it's going well because
No,
you're
it's
blood.
going well. It's going, no.
we did have one moment where I made an outline and I said, here's the outline. And she went, okay. And so we both wrote the chapter. So we had two chapters.
Two versions of the same
Two
chapter.
chapter 4.
What happened
And-
then?
Well, so
She sorted it out.
I merged the ideas. I mean, the concepts were basically the same. I
Uh-huh.
merged the ideas, and then next week, Tuesday, I'm going to send it back to Sara, who will then go over and go, that sounds just like Dawn. It's going to be a quote. This sounds like me. This is so we'll. And then when the book goes through its final editing, we'll let a professional editor unify our voice because we definitely write differently.
We do, just
We
slightly.
Just a little. Just a little.
You can spot our voices very clearly in the
Very
writing.
clear. Yeah. There's warm and chatty, and there's snooty, and I know it all. And I just like, oh.
You just use bigger words
I
than
know,
I
it's
have.
so
I don't have
sad.
these words.
It's so sad. Why use 20 small words when a 50 letter word will work?
We'll work perfectly, yeah.
To go for the $10 word, huh?
Well, I did go to graduate school, and sometimes that sneaks out, and then I have to dial it back. It's like, what? Oh.
Well,
Oh.
it sounds like there's going to be a good balance. Hopefully you got a good editor that kind of strikes it for you.
I have an excellent editor, yeah.
Well, yeah, wonderful. So I'm looking forward to seeing this come by the hopefully by the end of this year with any
Oh, yeah,
luck
mhm.
and everything else. So we'll probably check back with you again in the fall and when you're
Sounds
hitting the last section of this. Maybe
That'd
we'll
be
do
good.
it by video or something like that, like Skype it or something. Like we'll find a way to catch up. So great. I'm looking forward to this. So again, this is Dawn Devine and Sara Shrapnell, and so the forthcoming book is Becoming a Belly Dancer, and we're anticipating in time for Christmas gift giving at the beginning of December. And the book from student to stage. Yeah, I really like that phrase. I think it
But we
really
should put it
says
at
it
the
all for
bottom
what
of
you're
that.
doing.
Yeah, I think
It might appear on the
I
side.
think it should, because I think it says a lot about what you guys have.
Well, we could make it sort of a colon. Becoming a belly dancer, colon, from student to stage.
Yeah, you
Sound
have a little
familiar?
byline.
There's a room on the cover.
Yeah.
All right.
The cover hasn't been laid out.
So we can look later and see if this is actually makes it onto the cover or not. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed our little interview here. It was delightful talking to you all.
Thank you.
And so I will see you guys later and rest of California. I'm on the way in just a couple of days. So you guys all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.